Today, we're talking about taking one video or one live stream and having a chance to get a ton more views from it beyond just its initial life on whatever platform you choose to use. We're going to talk about that in the context of repurposing your content. We're going to talk about the ways in which you can do that, some practical steps, the benefits of that, and we're going to do that with a special guest. But before we bring them on, let's bring in Mr. Rob Wilson. How's it going?
The less special host. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Looking forward to some good old-fashioned YouTube chat.
Oh, okay. That's all you had to say. All right.
That's all I had to say. Yeah, I was trying to think of something to say after that sentence, and I had a blank, so I just did a really cheesy grin.
Well, this is going great already. And then our guest today, Ben Levitt. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here yet again.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Just for everybody's reference here, let's pull up your channel, which I did not have prepared. There it is. If you don't know already, this is Ben's channel. Ben, you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a full-time social media strategist. I run an agency where we help brands and creators better leverage social. And then so on my personal channel, I basically try to do that in content form. So I try to teach you how to grow an audience, nurture that audience, eventually make money from that audience, and build a community too.
So about to hit 100K subscribers. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What are you doing to celebrate?
It's been a long time coming, so I don't even know. I guess I'll figure that out when I get there. I still gotta make some more content to push me there. So I'm not there yet. I don't want to count my chickens before they've all hatched.
You've already been to space. What else does one need to do?
Exactly, right? We're good to go.
So what we're going to talk about today is something you're very familiar with. You do a lot of work on Instagram and a lot of various social media platforms, and we wanted to talk to you today about repurposing one's content for multiple platforms. Just to kick us off, like what's like a recent example for you where you've done this?
So I do this all the time with my podcast that I have. So I will take the longer conversation and think about what could be standalone clips from this to then you live on either YouTube or other platforms too. So I think you can really do it with any sort of longer form piece of content that you can then transition into another platform. And you can even go shorter form to long form. Like a lot of people that I've seen have great success with this as of late is that they tweet a lot, and that's one of their preferred ways of expressing themselves. They'll try different tweets, and then based on the audience feedback, they may turn that into a video later in a longer duration too. So you can go either short to long or long to short, depending on what I would say you're most comfortable with from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's you mentioned podcasting, and I feel like you could take one podcast, especially if it's in video form, and you can get a lot of life.
Yes.
Out of that. I'm going to pivot the conversation a little bit because there are channels out there that do watch us that have podcasts. They primarily put it on YouTube. What would you say is a good strategy? Like if you were to happen upon a podcast channel that was successful, what would you expect to see them doing?
That's a great question. So I think, and these are the kind of people that I work with all the time. So this is actually very top level stuff that was great that we can talk about. So I think the biggest thing is that I think a lot of people, they are approaching this from the right understanding. Just a small tweak in strategy could go a very long way. So a lot of people are putting up their full length podcast and then also their clips on the same channel. I definitely recommend splitting that up. So having a destination for your full length episodes is typically going to be your longer form. Maybe it's an hour, 2 hours. Some podcasts are even 3+. And then another channel where you cut up that into more bite-sized bits of the hardest hitting moments from within that long form episode. And why it works so well to split this up is that YouTube can find consistent data across of it. And so no video is alienating the next, because the person that would watch a 6-minute clip is actually wildly different than who would watch a 3-hour clip or commit to that from the beginning. But the clips channel could be a great way to nurture them to the point where they then actually come over, but they know what they're getting and they're coming for that reason. So it's going to get positive data. Whereas if you do them both in the same place and they're wildly different, just the consumption habits are going to be so different that YouTube will have a tougher time distributing that content. So that's the biggest thing that I think you could do is dividing a clips channel and then a full length channel, and then allowing them to be there for people's preferred method of consumption, and then use one to drive to the other.
Quick counter question to that, Ben. Yeah. There are some channels that do this successfully. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Colin and Samir are ones who turn their interviews and long form content really successful into short form content. What do you think the success is behind channels that are able to do that?
Yeah. So if you're talking about turning an interview then into a short, to do that successfully, you'd have to really understand the nuances of shorts. And I think a great way to see that is to actually study their stuff. So if you were to go for where they pulled that from the interview, they didn't just straight pull it. They changed it a lot. Like they changed the pacing, the cadence, they changed the visuals. So if you want the same piece to be also equally successful in shorts where it's a totally different consumption pattern, you do have to go the extra level. You can't just cut, paste, and you're good to go. And that's a perfect example of that. They do make it almost a new piece of content from the same actual moment.
So what things primarily do you think are being changed if it's the same footage, but it's packaged in a very different way? What do you think the key constructs are to that? Whether it be adding sound effects or like I know a lot of people put text on the screen as well, because often you consume short form content and the sound is muted. Any other things to think about?
Yeah. So if it's just like clips, so you're taking a longer hour episode and then you're putting it into still longer form video. So if it's the conventional 1920 by 1080, then I think those can be packaged pretty similar to regular YouTube videos, but you would want to be conscious of how can I like let this live by itself. But then when it's for shorts specifically, you totally want to alter how that's being created, because what people expect from shorts, especially right now, is so different. And you mentioned the great point of putting on the subtitles. That if you scroll through shorts, the majority of the ones that are doing really well especially in the educational side, they all have subtitles. And a little hack is to do it even word by word. I've seen that do really, really well. So just it's another thing to keep people hooked and watching. And the other point is that there's no delay in terms of getting into the content. Whereas on a longer form video, you may have an extra 5-10 seconds where the hook can be there. You jump right into the content with a short if you want it to be successful. And that's evident in Colin's and every one of Colin's Mirror successful shorts. You can go see that. They get right into the content and they instantly start delivering it. And it's so fast paced.
I don't think I have sound on for us, but I can show you what this looks like.
Yeah.
It literally, like, there was no intro
Exactly.
there,
Nope.
and you can read what they're saying right now. Just so it's captioned, and this is great. I can't hear it either. It's muted for me right now, and I'm still getting. If I were to actually sit here and read it, I would still be getting a lot of context from it.
Exactly.
And they also do genius loops. They're fantastic
Very good
at
at looping.
looping their shorts.
Yes.
One of the things I have yet to figure out with short form content is how do they do the captioning like that? Because the way I do it, it would take me hours to do that. So are there any programs to make this process easier? Or are we seeing like that's what makes it so good, but it takes a lot of time to do it in the background and we don't, the average viewer doesn't recognize that?
So that would definitely take a ton of time. There are a few ways to expedite the process slightly. Like there's a tool called vidIQ, which is an online video editor, and their big whole thing is that they do transcribe content with subtitles fairly quickly. So that is a way that you could do it. But for the way that they're doing it, where it is so specific to their branding, they're going in manually in Premiere Pro and doing that each step by step by step by step. Right. So that would take a long time.
You are right. There's a lot of transcribing software, but none of it does it that way, does it? It's no. You can tell it's exactly. An AI driven type of transcription.
Exactly. Yes.
It's gotten easier. Premiere Pro, like as a Premiere Pro editor, they have recently updated their tools to listen and caption things fairly quickly. Cool. And there's a new captioning like layout they have, but I've used it. And even like getting used to that, I don't enjoy it. I still don't like going through, and just finding the right pacing of the captions, making sure that they're on long enough to where they fit what's being said and can still be read, but short enough to where it's moving. You can't linger on a box and make it seem like a small paragraph either. Mm-hmm. So that's a challenge. And then just getting used to that tool, when, like you said, there's tools out there that are just ahead of it, that are just doing a better job. But that's another process. You have a finished video. Now you're putting it into another process. And, all of this stuff takes time. And I think people at large are underestimating how much time goes into making one YouTube short.
Yes.
But that's the difference between the shorts that get 1,000 views and fizzle out and the ones that get 100,000 views and fizzle out.
Exactly. Right. And it's those little minute details that make a world of the difference, because it's all about that breakthrough. And so, yes, it's a ton more effort, but you have to look at it like this. If you could put in a lot more effort, but the potential returns way higher, and you could put in less effort but get nothing back, right? So it's one of those things where in a space like YouTube, it is that extra bit of effort across the board that dictates success or not.
Right. On my personal channel, just to go out into a personal story real quick, I've hired a shorts editor, and I didn't instruct them to do any captioning. They just asked me, "Hey, by the way, what kind of font did you want for the captions?" And I'm like,
Mm.
I just wanted you to edit these clips. I forgot. Of course I want captions. I didn't even think of that. It's just, again, I'm not taking the time to edit these clips myself. So it's this whole extra practice that they're just used to as a shorts editor.
Mhm.
So it's crucial to do this because they understand the audience. They understand the type of person who is going to sit down and watch a YouTube short and what the surroundings are for that person. They could be on a subway train, and they might have headphones in and still can't hear the thing if they want to.
Exactly. Yeah, and I actually was part of this program where Isaiah Photo came in, and he's a massive shorts creator, and he basically walked through how he goes about creating shorts, and he stressed with absolute conviction that that captions are a must, and he even went as far as to say they should be single word rapid fire because he said that
Wow.
people can read far faster in that format he's found, and it makes them constantly something's changing, so they have to read to continue it going, and people hate to have a closed or an open loop. Like they want to close that loop. And if you do it like this, there's constantly something changing, keeping them there.
That's a huge tip. I hadn't even considered that, but as someone who's seen single word captions, I can definitely keep up. That's
Mhm.
never a problem. I put a lot of videos. I'm talking about standard videos now. I put a lot of those on like 1.5 speed, and even if they're doing the one word captions on the screen, I'm still able to totally keep up with it,
Yes,
which is
absolutely.
amazing.
So what's the tip there, Dan? Hire a single word caption editor.
You specifically a single word. You want to get somebody, if you're going to hire out for it, you want to get somebody who's just familiar with it. You want to get someone who's kind of already in that space. And I was going to have a long form video editor help me with both the long form and short form video. And I realized very quickly, I need someone who's like specific. Shorts is a different art form,
Mhm.
and I think we take that for granted. Even when we sit here and have these conversations, we don't dive really deep in this stuff, but it's impossible not to talk about when we're talking about repurposing content. Um, so yeah.
I love that you said that because that is the art form of repurposing is understanding how nuanced each of these platforms are. And because if you don't do a platform right, you won't win. And so a person who's blown up in the business space that I've seen as of late is a guy named Alex Hermosi. And he's blowing up because he did exactly what you did. Every platform that he wanted to be on, he built a team that only did that. So it's like he went from his preferred top level consumption creation, which was Twitter, and then he flowed that down into other forms of content with a team that was specialized for each platform. So it's like
Right.
you do have to understand that it's very nuanced if you want to break through.
So speaking of other platforms, I just pulled up a comment here that I love, and I think we should talk about this comment, but we should also talk about that, like what you just said, specializing for each platform. Because to set this up, I'll say this: if you make a YouTube short and it's vertical video and it's your video and you made it specifically for YouTube at first, it's very easy to take that same exact clip, go to your TikTok, and put it there too. But as you just said, you want to be specific to that platform. My first question before I pull up this comment: is that specific enough?
So I would say there still is a nuance between what you can get away with on TikTok and Shorts. In terms of like in TikTok, I found that you can be people give you a little more time to speak and tell a story, whereas Shorts is very much very very fast paced. But I could see them getting closer to the same. But I if a video does really well in Shorts, chances are it will also do tip pretty well on TikTok. But there still is a slight difference in terms of what you can get away with.
So the comment that I want to pull up here is this: growing on TikTok is 1,000 times easier than growing on YouTube. I've seen this so many times. I've seen so many people say this. Why do you think this is?
I think why people believe this is because getting views is very very easy on TikTok because they'll always push out your content, and if it's even remotely interesting, especially when you're brand new, they'll do that, and so they get people hooked in terms of like that this is possible, and then people put out a bunch more content, and so because like I said before, I think you can be less polished on TikTok and it will still really work. Where that's not as much the case on Shorts. So I think that's a huge point too, is that they're seeing people just throw up videos where they literally just grab their phone and start talking, and it does really well. That happens far less frequently on Shorts unless it's a well-known personality already. So I think that's probably the biggest reason, because there are still people who are blowing up on Shorts overnight, but it's because they took the time to make the content that works there. So that's probably what it is. It's just the low barrier to entry over on TikTok.
So do you feel like the standards on TikTok from the viewer's perspective are, and I hate to say it this way, but are just lower? Like they actually prefer it if it looks quick and dirty. But YouTubers tend to hold themselves to a very high standard and thus have raised the bar out of the gate. Shorts just came along and already the quality is way better in terms of videography.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on here?
I think that could play a huge part in it. And who knows, it could be even something that goes deeper into the shorts algorithm in terms of things that they prefer. I'm not totally sure, but I would say that's definitely the case in terms of people's consumption habits. They will consume something that looks like it was shot on an old Nokia phone. They'll watch that on TikTok, where that I've never seen a short that did really, really well unless it was from someone already very, very famous. So I think that does play a role. But also, like, it doesn't need to be shot on a beautiful camera per se, because oftentimes even some of the bigger YouTubers are still filming on their phone, but they're producing it like it's a very polished video. If you look at Airac's stuff, a lot of his videos are shot on his phone, and even Isaiah Photo, but they're put together really, really well and packaged very well.
I was trying to quickly pull up his channel as you were saying that. This is the creator you're referring to, right?
Exactly, yeah. And so like this, like the actual video is shot on a phone, but the editing is very, very polished.
Right. This looks to me like it was shot on a phone for sure.
Yeah.
The production quality, like I recognize the time this took, but for sure. But I think the people watching this really quick, it looks quick and dirty. So it's like this is an art form as well. Like
Yes.
taking something high quality, making it look like it's, oh, I did this on my phone. I just whipped this up.
Yeah.
True.
True. Yes. I guess that's where the art form lies.
This is hilarious. I can't. I got to stop watching. Practical tips. Just want to talk about. So we talked about the benefits of repurposing your content. What about just practical tips for doing that? Maybe we'll start from the perspective of YouTube creators, since everybody here, I assume, is kind of coming from that place.
Mm-hmm.
How would I, as a YouTube creator, well, let's start with TikTok. I'm a shorts creator, or I create videos and I want to take some of that content and put it on TikTok. Like what are some tips for me?
So I would spend a bit of time in there consuming the kind of videos that are doing well within your niche or for the type of audience that you're creating for, and just go see what's already performing within TikTok and see if you can spot trends, which you will. You'll find commonalities in terms of how it's paced, the visual elements, all of those different things, and also the type of content that does well. And then from there, you can probably go through with a far better understanding from your own catalog of content and see what would make for a good moment that may work and what wouldn't. And it's definitely going to be a trial and error thing where you may spend some time on a video that doesn't work, but you will figure it out eventually, and you'll start to see, okay, this kind of video does well, this one doesn't, and it needs to be edited like this. And then from there, you can really double down on what things that are bringing you results.
What about taking content, long form videos, and creating shorts out of them? And assuming you might also be able to take those shorts, put them on TikTok. Putting that aside, though, what are some practical tips for people who would like to do that? Maybe whether it's a podcast or even just a long form video where it's a cooking channel, for example, and they make a cake in their video.
Yeah. I think what you have to do is, how can you capture a similar type value that you delivered in 20 minutes for someone who doesn't have a 20-minute attention span? And like that is an art form in and of itself. And I think that some great examples are creators that are already out there doing this. Colin Samir's shows is usually between 20 and an hour, and they'll capture a few of the key moments and turn them into clips. But in that point of conversation might even have gone on for 5 or 10 minutes, but they are able to deliver a similar level of value, intrigue, and anticipation in a 30 to 45 second clip. So like that is where the art form lies, is how do we capture what needs to be here to deliver the same level of value in a far shorter form factor.
What about the don'ts? Well, those are the do's. What about the things you see that people are doing that they should not be doing?
Yeah, I would say don't just simply just cut and paste. Like, I don't think that's going to do well for you. With some exceptions, obviously, but the majority of people are not going to find success if they literally just take their video and just cut it exactly as it was and then put it onto shorts. I think that's asking a lot. That's a huge one. And then I think that you're also missing a huge, I hear from a lot of people on TikTok who really complain that shorts is super, super hard, and they've had a lot of success on TikTok, but it's just because they're literally just packaging their run and gun TikToks and then throwing them right on shorts. So it's like, we have to respect the nuances of the platform. So I think that's the other point that I would make, that they are similar, but they're not the exact same. And until you break through on shorts, it's unlikely that people are going to care enough to watch your run and gun stuff.
I was recently in a conversation that YouTube kind of hosts about YouTube Shorts, and I was just kind of a fly on the wall. I didn't participate really, but I was listening to a lot of creators talk about YouTube Shorts and talk about some of the ways they were using them, and I was surprised at how many of them said they were trying to use Shorts to promote their long form videos. When I hear this, what I hear is somebody saying with a short, "Hey, if you want to see the rest of this video, click here." Like, and to me, that's not the best way to do it, right? Like, people aren't really watching shorts that way. Is there? Am I wrong? First of all, and if not, like, what is the right way to promote your longer videos through YouTube Shorts?
Yes. So I'd go back to this example I've given a few times of Isaiah Photo. So he actually did that really well, where he had a standalone short that was very connected to his long form video, but basically he left it on a cliffhanger in terms of what's going to happen, what's at the end. And then he also made it very easy to go over and watch it. So he put the actual video in the pinned comment, I believe it was. So it was very accessible without having to do a lot of things. The harder you make it, the less spillover there's going to be. I think there has to be some merit. And so he had a lot of strategy and thought that went into building this to get people over there. And he also did that because he was having so much more success with his short form and his shorts than he was his long form, but he was still putting in like equal levels of effort. So he wanted to try to get some of those people over there, but he had also built a relationship and knew how to do this. So I think that's a really important thing, is to actually make it something that people would want to go watch, and then make it easy for them to do that.
I'm only speculating here, but this is a common challenge for a lot of people on the YouTube platform, in that there is a very clear distinction between long form and short form content.
Yes.
And so, given that so many people are asking how to do this, I would assume that at some point in the not too distant future, YouTube will introduce some sort of call to action tool whereby, in stories on YouTube, you can actually put a video link and somebody can tap on it. I would assume, but again, this is just me speculating, that YouTube are going to bring that into the shorts tools eventually. And I think what you suggested there, Ben, is a great idea, in that you provide entertainment / value in the short, but also it ends with a cliffhanger to encourage somebody to watch a longer form video. It is clunky that they have to go to the comment and then click on a pin comment, but hopefully YouTube will fix that soon.
Yeah.
I would
That'd be
recommend
awesome.
playing with the description too, because I've actually found it pretty easy to find my way to the description of a short. And I'm usually the descriptions on shorts are either non-existent or one sentence long.
Mm.
That one sentence could be the link to the longer video. I put it in both places, to be honest, because I think
Yeah, for sure.
you're going to click on only one of those if you're clicking around at all.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're probably right, Rob. That's probably a feature that they will throw in eventually, and that will make that a lot easier.
Like right here. So there's no description button on this. Maybe it's the 3 dots and then
It is,
description.
yeah.
So comment is going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
And here's
But
the pinned comment from the creator here.
I seem to remember, this may be only on desktop, that the link wasn't clickable if you put in a link on a pinned comment, but I can't remember.
Oh.
This was 6 months ago.
Mm.
Interesting. They don't seem, yeah, Isaiah's not putting a link here. Just pinning a comment. Just
Yeah, I think it was
engaging
for
with the
a
audience.
very specific video that he was trying to put traffic to. I'm gonna try to find it.
Okay. I can pull up the channel here. I was actually going to point out something too. Similar to your point, Rob. This icon right here, and I don't know if this is happening yet, but in other places on YouTube, when someone's live now, their channel icon will light up live.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that should really come to shorts if it's not there already. So I'm watching this person short. If they were live right now, I would want this little icon lit up. That would be another call to action to help get people from your shorts to, perhaps your longest form content that you have.
Mm.
So I can let you look for that in the background. But yeah, I think that was an awesome discussion. We're about to switch over to Q&A for everybody, and we already have some excellent questions. Thank you all for being here, asking your questions. We have Ben for another 30 minutes or so, and then we're going to stay here and we're going to keep answering questions. And around that time, we're going to be telling you about another thing that's going on that could explode the growth on your YouTube channels. So you're going to want to stay tuned if you've been looking to grow your YouTube channel. Did you happen to find that, Ben?
I still have yet to find it. Fortunately, it was when he snuck into the Grammys or whatever award show that it was, and basically teased it that he was like, "Oh, does he get in or whatever?" And then you have to go to click it to find it. I'm just trying to find it. I can't find the video.
Oscars.
That might have been it.
Now I'm looking on the channel, just for different words in the search bar here.
Yeah, I think it was I snuck into the Oscars or something along those lines.
Snuck into.
Where's the video? Maybe I don't know. It's so strange.
I hate that. I hate when I remember someone's video and I really want to find it and it's just not there.
I'll probably find it as soon as I get off here too.
Yeah. That's okay. We can move on to some questions and circle back to that.
Sounds good.
All right. So we got one here from Bruce Lee Edits. Ben, can you share some of your success to getting 70% or above retention on a long short form video, 45 seconds to 60 seconds? Thanks in advance.
A long short form video. Wow,
Well,
that's
getting
a
quite
niche in
meta here.
itself.
Yeah.
Distinction.
Yeah. So I would say that obviously you've heard this 101 times, but the hook has to be captivating enough to warrant that. So it's really content packaging is just that. It's like, how do you get someone that invested in this to give you that level of time? And so if the outcome or the anticipation or the intrigue is that high and the content is good, they're going to watch it. So I think being very quick with your pacing throughout all that time, and also getting very right into it with a high value outcome for that. And so you can learn this by go look at some shorts that have done really, really well that are that longer format and see, okay, well, what's different about these? What did they do to keep people around for that extra 10 to 15 seconds? And I would say that from what I've seen, it looks like 30 to 45 seconds is a decent length of time for a short that can do well. So I would say if you're looking to get to that closer to that 60 mark, go see what other people have done that have kept people around for 60 seconds.
There you go. I just raised my volume a little bit. Someone said it was low. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Let me know if it's too loud or still too low.
Sounds good to me, though.
Yeah, you sound good to me as well.
Rob, did you pull this next one up? I'm not quite sure what this one means.
I think so, yeah. Somebody was just mentioning that maybe this tool may do a good job of captioning. I was just having a look at it in the background. I don't know if it would do exactly what we're thinking it would do, in that it would take single words and can transcribe them. But somebody mentioned it, so I thought I'd just share it with people if I want to try it, because I think it's free to try.
Oh, there you go.
It's a great TikTok. Sorry, not TikTok. Podcast editing tool as well, because you can edit it like a Word document. So it's definitely worth looking into. And I believe it does have the ability to provide titles, but I don't know if it would look the way that we want them to.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for bringing that up. We have one here. Can't you do your editing in the TikTok app, or do you need editing software like we do on YouTube?
So if you're for a true TikTok, you can absolutely do everything within the app. But if you were looking to achieve the look of that independent, like single word caption, that would be a nightmare to do on the app. You would be hating that editor by the end of it. But if you you can definitely do most of your TikToks within there, and people have become very accustomed to that typical type of look, font, and feel, and all that stuff. So yeah, if it's a true TikTok, I would say you can get away with it most of the time, just editing it within the app, unless you wanted some crazy transcriptions, which a lot of people have found a lot of success with.
In my very limited experience, I found the TikTok editor and tools a lot more comprehensive than the YouTube Shorts tools. So Dan, you may disagree with this after what you've been hearing from YouTube themselves, but you could maybe create your short form content in TikTok, because there's so many more options. Download it without the watermark and then upload it as a YouTube Shorts. Or Dan, have a suggestion that really should stick to the Shorts tools, because they're quite limited right now. There's really not much going on in there.
That's how I would do it. In fact, I want to use YouTube's own tools, but the problem is when you do a short from YouTube itself, you can only do 15 seconds. That's like as long as it can possibly be. Some
you
of my
can do
shorts,
60. You can change it. Yeah, you can change it to 60.
Oh, maybe it's because I was using music. That's probably
yes. So you are limited there. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, so disregard part of what I said. YouTube has said it now, I've heard them say this multiple times, that like they like it when you use their tools, basically. Is like, they say it in so many words. It's this roundabout way of really trying to convince people, to the point where this group that I'm in, they said that to stay in the group you need to upload at least one short a week. And they didn't say this was a requirement, but they said we really like to see people using our tools, meaning the text on the screens, the trending music, all of that. So they want people to use their editor. That they didn't say you couldn't use TikTok's edits. But they did say they don't want to see watermarks from other platforms.
Sure.
TikTok. So right now I edit my shorts in Premiere and I upload them to my channel, and they still come out as shorts, and I don't use their tools because it's an extra part of my workflow that does not work for me. I can cross that bridge in the future. But it was an interesting insight from them, because they seem to be hinting that, like, hey, we're investing a lot of money in this, and so use it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
By the way, a lot of you have been here before, obviously. Just real quick, it does make it easier to find your question if you put #question in front of it, which a lot of you are doing already. But just as a reminder, that looks like this. You can put #question in front of your question. That just helps us pick it out. We are going to pepper Ben with shorts related questions, content repurposing related questions. I'm seeing some general ones that I am personally kind of skipping over just because they're not quite part of the conversation right now, but maybe later in the stream we can answer some of those as well. So just for a quick reset there, let's see. So we did that one. Had my shorts bonus email come through yesterday. $100 for 2.2 million views in April. Nice.
I think did I star that one?
I think you did.
I'm probably starring that one just as maybe this is a nice segue into how the monetization is changing a little bit for YouTube Shorts. I completely missed this, but apparently a month ago, YouTube announced that you can now earn less than $100.
Yep.
And more than $10,000, depending on how many views you get. And I think, Dan, you had a recent experience of this where you earned a mighty $10 for the month of April. Congratulations.
It's hilariously low, but it's good. It's a good thing, because how many times did I earn, technically speaking, $90 and not get any payout?
Good point.
Right?
Point.
So I've gotten 2 $100 payouts ever. And I know I didn't get a lot of shorts views in the last month. And to see $10 come through was really exciting, because I'm like, I didn't even do anything and you're still giving me something. Mm-hmm. And YouTube is obviously investing more in this before they even figure out how to put ads on shorts. And I heard YouTube say the ceiling now is $100,000. I have yet to see this in writing, but $10,000 was the ceiling. Now it's $100,000 apparently.
Maybe I should ask Jake Feldman about that, see if he's got any insight into it.
So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Ben, but that was something we were excited about earlier.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be a massive piece for who ends up winning the short form battle is how do you reward creators? I'd say that TikTok everyone loves it because you can grow there, but if you're not creative with how you make money off of TikTok, there's tons of people with millions and millions of followers getting tens or hundreds of millions of views that are making almost nothing. So it's definitely a big situation.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We have one here. Let's see. Sorry, I might skip that one for now. Rob, you might have started for a reason. We can come back to it. Mm-hmm. Likes will play a role in shorts success. The more you get someone to like the shorts, next will be the retention. Anything that hits 70% lifetime retention stays on the shelf. 90% is better. So this must be an experience that Bruce Lee Edits has. Ben, anything to add to this, or do you feel like it's accurate, inaccurate?
So I'm sure that is the case if Bruce Lee Edits has seen that, but I feel like these numbers do fluctuate based on what's level of market is at the time. I'm sure these numbers are very fluent. So yeah, if he's seeing that, it could be true.
When we did a video on this, I think it was middle of last year. Again, thanks to Jake Feldman, we got some data on this from one of the more popular shorts creators. And his average audience view duration was, I think, like 170%, which gives you an idea of just how important getting a second view on a short is, whether it be through loops or whether it's somebody watching a short being so amazed by it and they want to share it with the friend, somebody sitting next to them or whatever. It's still an interesting one, the idea of likes being important. And I think I mentioned that as well, because when you look at the YouTube Studio mobile app, And, it gives you like that card and tells you like what your click-through rate is, watch time, and so on for long-form content. One of the key indicators it shows you is likes and audience retention. And because I think shorts have less data to go off of, that's why I think likes may, and I emphasize the word may, have more of an influence on whether the YouTube Shorts discovery engine continues to share out content.
Absolutely. So let's see. There's something I want to check, but I'll let you guys tackle this next one here. Clipping long form videos from YouTube. Wait a minute. I read this backwards when I first read it. So I think what you're saying is it okay to take clips from a long video and make it into shorts? So repurposing it that way.
Yeah, I would say that's totally fine. And I can't see you having any problems with that but from a performance point of view, if you just straight cut it as is, chances are it's not going to do well.
When we talk about whenever you use the word algorithm, you should change the word algorithm to audience, and then you better understand YouTube. I think in this sentence, you want to change clipping to transforming. So transforming long form videos into shorts. It's more than just slice and dice and then plonk it in another platform. As we talked about, I think for the first 15 minutes of this live stream, there's so much more to it. And one of them being like the captions, as we talked about, that was pretty important.
100%.
All right. Let's see. Question here. I am a genealogy/history channel. I recently started doing a this day in Canadian history to use to help figure out what topics could work to expand into longer content. Wait, what's the question?
It's interesting. There's a Q, but there's no question mark there, is it? I think they're saying, let's interpret it like this. They're experimenting with short form content, doing maybe like one fact a day about Canadian history to try and test whether they can transfer that into long form content. Do you think that's a successful strategy? There's probably the bit they're missing at the end. I'm still really confused and thrown by how factual education content works in shorts. I am yet to see somebody do it really successfully, but I must confess I've not done that much research on it. So, Ben, are you finding edutainment/educational content work in the short form content? Because essentially there's no search engine in shorts, and I think that's what makes it a bit of a challenge.
Yes, I would say it skews really hard on the entertainment side. So I think that's those that have had any or serious levels of success that are still education-ish. They are overemphasizing on the whole entertainment or intrigue part more so than the education. And they're trying to still sprinkle in some of the education that is their bread and butter, but in a package that is very fun to watch. So I'm just like you. I've yet to see anyone who's like purely educational do really, really well. And I'm sure it will come as this gets far more sophisticated, but just right now I haven't seen anyone.
Someone mentioned the red circle we were talking about earlier on mobile. I do believe that's true. I think it's only on mobile right now. What I'm not clear on is if you see it on the short shelf or not, which would be excellent if you did. So real quick, this was Slavgard just reminding everybody questions are not going to get answered if the questions are saying things like, how do I get more views or subs? Be sure your questions are specific. I just grabbed that as a quick thank you for the reminder.
The answer, of course, Dan, is make more videos.
Yes, it is make more videos. And good luck to you. Can you, vidIQ and YouTube growth creators alike, sacrifice some vagueness in titling and description for the sake of the learner?
So I interpreted this question as going broader again. Do education channels tend to rely on SEO and search-based titles for their content discovery? And I think the answer to that is more leaning towards right titles for humans first. If you can include some SEO and search-based intent in it, if it is your intent for that content to be evergreen, then by all means try it. But I think creators like Ed from Film Boob have demonstrated very effectively how you can do a lot more emotional-based titling structure within education and still see that content be really successful. You're just getting view traffic from a different source, more browse and suggested as opposed to search. Of course, there's a lot more that goes into what I've just said there, other than switching it from search-based to human-based titles.
I found that when I make a video about an update, I like to just go ahead and go for the most human readable slash clickbaity title I can, because I know that usually, like when YouTube,
You just say clickbait, Dan.
no, I would never say that.
Yes.
Usually when YouTube updates things, it only appeals to a certain type of nerd, and it's usually me. So I always want to
You just call us all nerds, Dan.
As I said, I was a nerd. You're not listening to anything I say
Said
today.
YouTube nerds.
Me specifically. There's a lot of people who are like, big deal, the community tab 500 subscribers, I don't care. My goal is to bring the benefit of that to you. Why should you care? And me saying a searchable title like YouTube unlocks community tab for 500 subscribers that read like a newspaper headline, that doesn't really excite anybody. But if I say, YouTube just unlocked this thing for millions of creators, now suddenly it's like, whoa, okay, go on. And that's what I'd rather create with update videos that are going to have a shelf life anyway. These updates aren't going to be relevant forever. But then there's search-based videos where we make them knowing that on the first day they're not going to perform amazingly, but they have evergreen lifetime kind of value. Like this advice is not going to go out of style. And so you can be very intentional as an educator with like who you want to target in that sense.
We've got a potential example of this coming soon, Dan, haven't we? Because you've been doing some research into how Twitch is kind of shafting all of their users with not paying them as much.
One way to put it.
And so the title we're thinking of is YouTube Monetization Just Got Even Better, and you didn't have to do a thing. The title's a bit long, but that's kind of the angle we're going for, in that it's an update, but it's wrapped around the, how sensitive monetization is to everyone. Yeah.
So a lot of changes are happening, not just the Twitch news, but just YouTube's doing a ton of stuff. And everyone just, especially if you're a monetized channel already, you have so many opportunities to make money that you didn't have just a month ago, and you'll be getting more soon. And so it's going to be a whole video about a whole bunch of updates that, again, are going to go out of style eventually. So we need like a good, impactful title that really explains, hey, there's a thing that happened that is beneficial to you, and if we lead with YouTube unlocks gifted memberships, we've given away the entire video in the title as far as that person's concerned. We may talk about 5 other things, which we do, but people think, okay, you don't need a 6-minute video to tell me the thing you just said in the title. I don't need to click on this. I think this next question, Rob, I might have grabbed, but I read it too quickly. I think it would require a channel audit, which we're not doing today. So I'm going to skip that unless you grabbed it for some reason. And go to this one. Any tips on converting long-form YouTube tutorial listing/review videos to shorts for TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram as a way to bring people to the full video without it just feeling like an advert? Kind of talked about this.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to achieve, especially for that, because like that, I don't know, you could do that in a way that would be independently interesting if it's something like a tutorial, right? Whereas it's like the example that we gave with Isaiah Photo, he's sneaking into the Grammys or whatever the award show was. Like that's a pretty high stakes thing. So if he can do that in an entertaining way, you want to see how it ends. So I'm sure it's definitely possible. I think it would just be a lot more difficult in the educational realm.
Yeah, I think tutorials are very specific to a need at a time.
Yes.
So you're going to go to the search bar for that. And if you could teach me something I don't know in shorts, but I'm never going to commit it to memory, even if I think it's cool. Like, let's say it's a really interesting, like satisfying thing to watch. Like you're teaching me how to make something out of wood, right? Like that might be a cool thing to watch, but I'll never remember that it was you that taught me that if I'm not really looking for that answer at that time. Like, oh, cool, this person's really good at crafting things. That's neat. So the better direction, if you're that kind of channel, is to go with like a satisfying thing. I'm going to make this block of wood into a thing, right? And you're not teaching anyone anything. You're just going to the art form of it. And there's certain types of content that I just don't know if they work on shorts. I don't know if tutorials will ever work in this format. But maybe. It just depends. I grabbed this one just as a quick FYI. So does watch time get updated from shorts? You do get watch time from shorts. That YouTube calculates that you have people watching your shorts for a time, but it does not go towards YouTube monetization.
The YouTube partner program, let's be clear about that. So
yes,
if you want to earn money from YouTube shorts, get lots of views. If you want to earn money from long form content, get subscribers and watch time. But they are entirely separate. And this is a really frustrating thing about shorts, is that shorts and long form content sit on the same platform, and yet they're very different in terms of how people earn revenue from them.
Absolutely. Question for Ben: should I post both long and short videos on one channel? I feel like my YouTube shorts are affecting my long videos performance.
So I think you can put them on one channel. The example that I gave before was for a podcast, and usually that's because they're so wildly different. A podcast can run multiple hours. That's just a totally different consumption than even a micro clip that's a few minutes. So for shorts, I think you could absolutely put it on the same YouTube channel. Again, as long as you're taking lessons from people who are doing this successfully and not regurgitating the exact clip, because if you just do that, you're not going to find the success. And we showed Colin and Samir, and I think they're a great example because of how long form their content usually is and how they still get crazy levels of success from converting that the right way with a short spin. So you totally, I would put them on the same channel as long as you do things the right way.
Another example here from a podcast I regularly watch, rather than just listen to, the Always Sunny podcast.
Mhm.
And they are actively putting shorts
Right
on
there.
the same channel as the podcast. They do about 2 shorts, it seems, a week, from just clips from the podcast, and it's all these viewers being funneled into the same place, and the content's it's a podcast. The content you're getting is always the same as the long form if you're watching from shorts. So I've always said that's the easiest way to convert people from the short form viewers to the long form, because eventually they might be on YouTube desktop and YouTube's like, wow, you're here. You've watched a ton of Always Sunny podcast shorts. Did you know they make 45-minute podcasts, And so it might recommend this to you if you've been watching on your phone and you've just never, explored the home feed in the more traditional sense. I think that YouTube does try it, but I can see the frustration. I've always also said, like, it's kind of about goals, right? Like, if you don't want your numbers to look all wonky like that, then you make 2 channels. But I like you said, Ben, there's so many channels that are putting them in the same place and they're seeing success, and I think they just appreciate that they're catering to 2 different audiences, really.
Yeah, it's really what it is, especially at the given point with where things are from a tech perspective. But these things are evolving and changing. But I don't think there's a wrong answer. I'd say exactly like you said. What are your goals and what makes sense for you, and then do that.
Hushy says, definitely not a fan of TikTok, but as for shorts, if someone sees my short, are they likely to be recommended my long form? Thanks. It's like we kind of just said that. Anything to add to that, though? No, it's okay if no.
No, I got nothing else.
The honest answer is, I don't know. I wish I did.
Yeah.
There are so many shorts content creators that have found success with shorts, and then they try long form content and it falls on its bottom. But we have seen examples of the opposite. Who's the channel, Dan? BlockFacts. They were doing these very specific shorts. They transitioned to long form content, and it was an instant hit. I wish I had a good answer. I wish maybe YouTube could provide some analytics along the lines of, if they talk about return viewers, it'd be really good if YouTube showed us the analytics for return viewers that watched a short, but then watched a long form piece of content. That sounds like a really complicated formula to put together, but it would really help creators to be able to understand what's the crossover of audience in that form. Because for example, I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's say you watch a short and you're swiping through the shorts, and the 4th video in that shorts that you're swiping through is something that you really enjoy. Does that then translate to YouTube showing a thumbnail from that same creator on the browse desktop screen? And I don't know the answer to that. And I wish we could somehow get a clearer answer to that type of thing. And it all goes back to why YouTube didn't separate shorts out as its own independent app. Like YouTube Kids, for example, where we kind of know there's a definite separation between, I guess, what you may see on the Kids app and what you would see on the YouTube app. I'm sorry, I'm rambling now because too long, didn't listen. I don't know.
Yeah. I tend to agree. It's hard to know. I have been doing YouTube Shorts recently on top of my long form content, and I am seeing that most of my views are not coming from the shorts feed. Should I continue to do shorts? This is kind of
That's the problem, isn't it? That
kind of going into
experiencing that problem.
My experience with this personally is that I first had to upload shorts and I had to wait and wait and wait for YouTube to recommend the short, right? So YouTube would eventually give my short life somewhere. And then it would have an initial performance and then it would land somewhere on the shelf kind of for a time, right? So it was continually bringing in views at a certain rate. And my better shorts brought in more views. Some of them tapered off forever pretty quickly. But there came to a point where I was uploading shorts and I realized, wow, these are getting views right away now. That's weird. And I look at my analytics and they're coming from browse. They're not coming from shorts. And so I tried a long form video and it got views right away on a channel that was initially just shorts. And this is what happened to BlockFacts. Same thing. So if you're seeing that happen, it doesn't hurt to test it. If anyone has anything to add to that, just wanted to share my experience. So yeah, test it out. Good luck.
Sorry.
There's like 4 sound effects in one button.
Yeah, I was trying to do the cricket sound because no one answered your question, but I was playing a video at the same time because I still haven't figured out all of my sound inputs. That happened.
All right, Ben. Age-old question: why do some shorts get hundreds of views and others get 0?
That is a question that I would also love to know. I think that much like you just said, there is a testing out phase, and if YouTube is a data machine through and through, so if they don't have a good collection of data for your channel and your viewers, then that can be a big reason why. But I'm sure Rob has this better answer to this than I do.
I don't know.
There you go. Velocity is the closest thing I could say. Without looking at the channel, I'm going to assume if you're seeing literally 0 views in your shorts, you're just not putting enough shorts out there.
My guess is if it's getting 0 views whatsoever, then possibly the title is all screwed up in some way, or you're a very new creator and you've put sorry to say this, but a very low quality short that YouTube doesn't know what to do with. But we don't have enough information to effectively answer the question.
It really helps to target a niche that has an audience. So if you're doing something that's just completely like, I made a character and they do a thing and it has nothing to do with a trending topic or anything like that, that could be really hard because YouTube's like, I want to put this somewhere, but I just don't know who it's for, you know? So it does help to have some kind of relevance to somebody, right? And yeah, like I was saying, velocity, like I was testing out a new shorts channel and I noticed that the older shorts on it were starting to get views when I uploaded new shorts to it, you know? So I'm building up a little content library. I'm giving YouTube more data about my videos. It's figuring out where to put them. Someone watches and they're like, oh, you like that guy, huh? Well, here's another one from them because I happen to have that. But if you're not giving YouTube enough to share, then yeah, everything kind of stagnates. So that's part of it too. It could be a number of things. Okay, we answered that one already. So this, I know we already talked about this, but just to recap, this person might not have been here for this part. I do recommend going to rewind because we talked about this at length. But should we add captions to short form content? Yes, was basically the answer. I don't know if you want to say anything else, Ben.
An emphatic yes. I would just add an exclamation point to your yes. Is that absolutely? And typically effort goes a long way here. So the little things like I mentioned, that even doing individual word captions will definitely take you a lot more time, but it's also going to dramatically increase the chances that people watch that whole video because it's just leveraging how humans interact and consume.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a really naive question here. I think I know the answer. YouTube doesn't auto caption shorts, does it? There's no way to.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So when we talk about captions, we're talking about
subtitles,
baked in captions prior to uploading to YouTube.
Yeah, that's a great point to include. Yeah, so this would have to be done yourself on the video on top of it so that people can consume it.
It looks like this. And one word at a time, somewhere on the screen. The middle of the screen's a great place. Plus, all my friends basically living in VR at this point, so may well join them. If that was fast, it was like, whoa, you know. I saw what he was saying, but I couldn't read it out loud that fast.
And Dan, when you click on the 3 dots in the top right hand corner, there's no option to add captions, is there? No. Correct. Okay.
And so just one point right here too is that so most people will be able to read, but say if you missed a word or 2 words, you're probably going to rewatch that again to capture that word. And then he just got double the watch time too.
I paused in a good place too. This is a cut down of an 8-minute video on his channel. I noticed this. I was trying to find this earlier because he did not pin a comment. I was looking, but there was no pinned comment, so I decided not to bring it up. But now that I've paused here, Isaiah Photo is actively trying to get you to watch this long form video. But just judging by what we just saw in the short, obviously you get something out of it if you don't. If you decide not to, because you're just, I just want to look at shorts right now. I don't feel like doing that. You're still getting some entertainment value out of this, which is great. And now it's in the back of your mind, like I should note that this guy makes really fun looking videos, and he has more for me. There's more to see if I want.
Here's the thing. How does somebody get to that video from this point though? They can't click on the channel icon because that only will show the shorts, right? So if you just click there, Dan. Oh, so okay, so it takes it to their channel on desktop, right. But I'm pretty sure on the mobile app it will just show you more of their shorts.
Right. I think on the mobile app you get to the front page of their their channel, but it's all shorts.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. So you'd literally have to type their name on your phone into the bar. Like if that's still the case though, we're assuming that it's all their shorts only when you click on their name. Maybe it's changed. But if that's the case, that's a lot of friction. That is a ton of friction between getting the viewer to go from a short to a long form video. So really test it for yourself. But if you're seeing that's the case, are you trying on your phone?
Yeah. So I just went on Airrack and then I tapped on his icon, and so it just shows me all of his shorts.
Now, and we know from his channel that there's not only shorts on that channel.
Correct. Yeah.
So on the channel, actually,
so you have to click on his channel name again to then get to his homepage.
That's 3 clicks, taps. That's a lot of friction.
So YouTube, if you're watching, we've given you a solution about half an hour ago. Get it fixed.
Yeah. Lot to say about captions though. So yeah, that's definitely go back to the beginning of the stream. We talked about it, right? It was like really one of the first things we talked about. Does adding captions in several other languages help the YouTube algorithm recommend a video to a wider audience? I don't think we're talking about the on-screen stuff we were just talking about now. I think we're talking about the actual YouTube built-in captions.
I believe so.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't think it would necessarily. I think it's a chicken and the egg question here. I think it will aid discovery of your content in different languages once people have watched the content and realize that they can put it into a different caption language. But I don't think it would automatically start recommending it in Spanish just because you've captioned it in Spanish. I may be wrong about that, and I can't think of a channel that's successfully done this, where they've just provided different captions for, say, an English-speaking video. What has been proved to be very successful is if you bring in professional voice artists and they actually professionally dub your content into another language. Company that's been doing this is Unilingo. They've done it for us with 2 channels. We've got a Spanish channel up to 200,000 subscribers just by somebody professionally dubbing me in Spanish, but I've also done Mr. Beast in several other languages as well. There's obviously quite a significant cost to that, though.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that. All right. Ben, I know let's actually, no, I don't think we have time for one more question.
Oh, we got one more minute. Come on.
I can do one more.
All right. Rob and I are saying
we'll do it. Hang on. We'll do it. So we started, so we'll finish. So Ben has to finish his question no matter how long it takes. So let's make it last 30 minutes.
Yeah, but just so everyone knows, Rob and I are sticking around. Okay.
Oh, are we? Oh, I didn't know that.
Is it normal if my channel with a good niche, good thumbnail, editing thumbnail, good click-through rate doesn't get many views?
So who's taking this one?
Well, we said you were. Okay, I should have curated this a little bit more.
I'll happily take that. Well, so that's entirely subjective, first of all. So what makes it good, right? And this is a tough conversation I have with so many people on YouTube is, well, is it good if no one's watching? And so that's the whole issue, right? Is that if what makes a video good is people viewing, then there might be a part that's wrong. So there's also a ton of great content out there. The videos are awesome, but if you don't get the packaging right, they can't watch the videos. So it's like you can have the fanciest car on the street, but if you have no gas in it, you can't go anywhere. And so that's the biggest issue. So I think improving one little variable at a time is going to really help you. And then also, I think a lot of people, they say that their stuff is good because it looks just like their competition. That's also kind of a problem, because if you look like everybody else and they already have an established audience, why would they ever click your video over theirs? So being different can also help you out a ton there too.
Yeah, there you go. Ben Levitt, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you.
Yep. Here's Ben's channel's link down below. If you need to go over there, please do.
Appreciate
Ben,
it.
thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
Yeah. See you soon.
All right. Can I leave you for just 2 minutes? I have
What?
there's something going on in the background that keeps happening. I have to address this.
Blimey,
I'm so
all right.
sorry. Is that okay?
Yes, I guess so, Dan.
Thanks,
I
Rob.
guess so.
I'm
God,
sorry.
this would never happen on a Tuesday live stream, would it?
No, because there's
All
like 4 people.
I'm throwing you out. Get out of my, get out, Dan, until you're ready to come back. All right. Hello, everybody. It's just me and you, 250 people enjoying me fill time until Dan returns. How I will fill it is with this question from the Game Economy, who asks, they have 23% click-through rate and 63% watch time and good engagement on your first video. Unfortunately, YouTube didn't push it since the video only has 200 views. This made me wonder why my video didn't get pushed. So, first of all, let me say this. 200 views on your very first video is actually pretty awesome. When YouTube doesn't have any data to work with, the fact that it shared it out to probably a couple of thousand people with impressions and 200 people clicked on it and watched it is pretty incredible. Now, yes, 23% click-through rate sounds fantastic, but at the moment, it is a very small data sample size. What I will say to you is that if you continue to make more videos that have similar click-through rate and audience retention is a little more difficult to measure because while 63% could be really, really good for a video that's 20 minutes long, it's also not that good for a video that's 1 minute long. So we don't know in principle here how good that watch time is. But if you continue to send these positive signals to YouTube time and time again, not just once, it can't just be through one video, it has to be through a consistent level of content, then YouTube will not ignore you, so to speak. I mean, it's not ignoring you now. It's just giving you a pretty good start with 200 views. But I would recommend this attitude. All right, I've done something great. I've got good feedback from the data. I need to do it again and again and again. And this is kind of like putting money into the YouTube bank, like a savings account, and it's slowly building up. But you just don't know when that's going to pay out. Maybe it's after your 5th video. Maybe it's after 6 months. But I promise you, and this happens 99% of the time, if you continue to produce these numbers, YouTube's going to reward you. But you need to exercise patience at this point. And I'm sure, I thought Dan was here. Well, Dan's chair is currently agreeing with what I'm saying. We'll come back to Dan's chair in a few moments. But that's my answer, the Game Economy, to that question. Thank you very much for asking it. We'll move on to the next one now, which is going to be from Here's Johnny. That's a terrifying channel name and icon for me. Does adding captions... Oh, hang on. We've already had that one. I do apologize. I forgot to unstar it. So let me unstar that one. And I think we've already had that one. We've already had that one. Yeah. So I think I'm up to speed now with all of the questions that have been asked. This from Triple-tastic, I think, is a suggestion for our title that we were talking about a little earlier, when it's going to be something along the lines of YouTube monetization just got even better and you didn't even realize it. But here is Triple-tastic's suggestion for the potential title. Did this just happen to YouTube monetization? I like the title idea there. It has an element of fear of missing out, that you're teasing something that's important to a lot of creators, but you're not going to tell them what that is until they click on the video. So Dan, this may be our title for the one about monetization and what's just happened.
It's not bad. That's actually a really good title.
Can
Sorry about that.
Can people rate out of 10 how well I just filled in for Dan? Because I was feeling the pressure a little bit there. I'll give myself a 6. I thought I answered the question really well, but then I brought up some older questions that I'd forgot to unstar.
That works. Yeah, I wasn't here, but 6 sounds about right.
Are you able to tell us what the problem was, Dan? I'm intrigued.
No, I'm not. But thank you for filling in.
Damn. His cat got in another fight. I reckon that's what it was. He's
Okay.
scrapping.
Did we get to this one yet?
Nope.
I make entertainment videos. Would it confuse my audience or hurt my channel if I upload tutorials since they don't take a month to make, unlike my normal game dev videos? Oh, okay, it's a game dev channel. I'll say that if you're a game developer, there's a lot of value you can offer. And if you're giving tutorials about game development and your regular videos are about game development, that makes sense to me. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
It's a tricky one because the viewer intent is going to be very different here. If they come to watch something and be entertained by it, then if you start to throw out tutorials, then the viewer has to be in a very different mindset. They have to be in the mode of wanting to learn something about game development as opposed to wanting to learn something about game development which then they can actually apply, whereas other people are maybe just wanting to learn something about game development for entertainment purposes. So it's something to store in their head but not actually apply anything to it. I think Dan, this is a bit of a loose example, but we audited a channel yesterday about I think they were passionate about muscle cars, and they went to a drag racing event, and they get tons of views from actually being at a drag race and watching these cars do what they do. But then all of their other videos, I think, were about maintenance and the mechanics and how to build, fix, clean these cars. And the view counts were very, very different because I think it was a very different viewer intent and expectation, even though it was the same type of audience.
I guess it depends on who your game developer videos are for right now. Like there's a channel called Danny, and he does like game development videos, but he uses his powers for evil. Like he takes game development and makes a whole mockery of it. And their videos are obviously for entertainment purposes only. Like you look at them and they make you laugh, and you don't learn anything from them if you're trying to learn game development, but you're intrigued by it. And that's the thing. Like if you feel like your audience would otherwise look for tutorials on game development, but based on the way you make your content, it would work. But if you're doing content like that, like I can't see him actually doing a tutorial. I couldn't take it seriously. He's way too over the top. And I don't see myself learning from somebody like that. But someone like that might interest somebody else in becoming a game developer, and then they go somewhere else to get that info. So it really depends on what you're doing now, I think.
Yep.
This was for Ben, I guess. I post almost 30 shorts a day. That's a ton. And 10 may go viral with thousands of views. This has got me 4K subs in 6 months. Is this a smart method?
Okay, so Octorius has been talking about how I'm enjoying playing with my sound effects. So I think there is an appropriate one here. 30 shorts a day is simply not possible. I think we would all agree, right? I've already got the channel.
You got it. I was looking. I had to look.
So we're just going to base this off of first impressions. We're not necessarily doing a channel audit here. But what does this channel strike you of doing when I just look at the thumbnails?
They are taking other people's content. Like it could be other shorts or TikTok creators, but it could also just be from TV shows that they're watching. Like
it certainly looks that way. I'm going to click on one. I'm going to. I can't mute it, can
I? From the top, you can top of the screen.
Now look, that's ridiculous timing. Come on, stop it.
How much transformational effort was put into that?
We saw
a title and some text.
Yeah, we saw them.
What I worry about a little bit here is this channel's potential going forward in terms of what are you uniquely presenting to an audience that's going to mean that they choose you over many other channels that are doing this. So I don't know really what I'm suggesting here. I kind of subverted this question completely, but yeah, the question of reuse content, copyrighted content, etc., etc.
Yeah. So it's hard for us to advise in that case. You
I
would,
think that's where we're ended up with. Hard to give
yeah,
advice on such a channel.
you would be better off, in our opinion, making content that is your own content, because like there'll come a point where YouTube, like when they monetize this more, when more of the business side comes to shorts, like they'll have to crack down on content like yours. It's the only way only term I can put that in, crack down. Right now, they see it going on and they're not cracking down on it. You know, in fact, you may still even be eligible for the shorts bonus for now. But as soon as things start to change, which that's what we're all kind of seeing happen, things will change. If you're getting shorts bonuses, that will eventually stop, is my prediction.
I think most creators would be furious if a channel like this was just essentially re-uploading content and profiting from it, whereas other creators were spending hours, days putting together original content. And I apologize, Tech A Productions, if we're misrepresenting your channel on first impressions. But with your question and what we've seen from the thumbnails and the titles and one piece of content, we've got some concerns.
It is. Yeah, it is a bit concerning, but hopefully we're missing something obvious. In which case, if you're doing a lot to that content, right? I would still say 30 is too many in a day, just in general. Like you could be putting a lot more effort into 2 or 3 a day, you know, and you'd have content for a long time to come. You could take a vacation eventually, you know. Is it smart to build on multiple platforms and connect them together with links?
In my experience, no. I found that trying to promote content on one platform and then which links to something else is missing the value of a platform that you're on and not providing enough of an interest for the viewer to engage in it. But I'm coming from quite a naive perspective there. I don't know, Dan, if you've got an alternative view on this.
I think that we talk a lot about having eggs in different baskets, right? Like if you're going to be a YouTube creator, have you tried TikTok? Have you also branched out into Instagram Reels and things like that? Like it's a good practice business wise to put yourself in more places. I would say putting yourself in more places, that's great. Linking constantly to other content in the hopes that you can pull people from one place to the other, that doesn't feel necessary. I would be, as Ben would say, like make content that's specific to that platform. So each audience you're building is in a different place, and they deserve respect equal to that of the, you know, other content you're providing to people. So what I would do, and let me just pull this up real quick, is I'd be putting your links right here in the corner of your banner, right? So your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, all that stuff, your website. And I'd be putting them in your description of your content just so they're there and they're findable. But I wouldn't be stressing too hard trying to get people from going from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. It's friction points. You want people to focus on your content. You want people to remember you as the content creator that they saw and they enjoyed. So they subscribe. And then eventually they may see those links and they may go check you out in other places. But you got to hook them first. And every video you make has the potential to reach people who've never seen you before. So remember those new viewers, you know, and if you're constantly going on and on about how, well, if you think this is good, you should definitely check out my TikTok. You should definitely check out my Instagram Reels. Like I'm here on YouTube. Quit it. So give people a chance to like grow attached to you.
I think I managed to start quite a few questions there, Dan, while you were answering that. So sorry if I zoned out for a second.
You're good. Let's see. So we can go to that next one there. Sometimes I watch my videos directly from YouTube on my main account. Does it give me views and impressions? So they're swapping YouTube accounts to watch their own content.
Oh, hang on. Let me read that again. I don't interpret them as switching accounts, Dan. I'm interpreting that as they're watching their own videos.
They said from their main account, so I assume they have a YouTube account that they make content on, and a main account where they watch YouTube on. But that's how I do it. So I don't know if that's, maybe I'm just putting my own,
Okay. Well, I
reflection
think
on that.
the answer is the same in that I think it's yes. However, if you were to refresh your channel page 1,000 times and then click on your video 1,000 times, that's not necessarily going to give you 1,000 views and tons of watch time. This was a hack that people were trying in 2006, where they just have like a little command that refreshes the browser page like every 5 seconds to add views. I guess what I would say is I wouldn't worry that you're manipulating the metrics on your content as long as you're watching your videos as you would any other channel. You know, you watch it once, then maybe a week later you watch it again, but you only watch 70% of it. If you are trying to add impressions / views and watch time to your channel, then you've got this all wrong in that it's not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form in the long run. You need viewers organically engaging with your content at a mass scale, and you trying to contribute a few views here and there isn't going to add anything to YouTube's data that is valuable. I'm not accusing you of that. I think you're just asking the question, does me interacting with my own content impact the data? And it probably does if you're just watching content in a regular fashion. But once you start to consciously add views and watch time, YouTube's flags and mechanisms are so sophisticated that it can work out pretty quickly when something doesn't smell right with what viewers are doing with content.
Yeah, and if it's a case of trying to get your content pushed more, you think, oh, I'll get more views and YouTube will push out my content more because there's more views. Really, all you're doing is you're creating a data point for one individual user, and that's your other account, if that's what you're doing. So YouTube's like, okay, I get it. You really like this creator. So when they make something new, I'll show it to you. But you can watch one video 1,000 times, and that data point doesn't change. It's you watching the same video 1,000 times. YouTube's like, okay, got it. Like, I'll make sure you specifically, person, get the next upload. But you haven't helped the reach of that video across YouTube as far as, like, my opinion is concerned there. YouTube obviously hasn't told us this, but that's how I feel about it. How much video retention is required for a YouTube short right now?
We made a video on this, and I'm going to try and find it. Yeah.
There's
on Jake Feldman's stuff.
Yeah. So we have a little bit of data on this, but there's no hard and fast like number as usual. We can't just tell you, oh, it's this, because it's not necessarily the case. But yeah, we did. You're right. We did do a video on this.
Here's the thing, though, because I often don't title my videos with search intent. It makes them really difficult to find. Like, I can't just put in Jake Feldman audience retention, because I'm not going to find it. Oh, and I can't even remember what the thumbnail looked like now. Yeah, that's annoying.
Do you remember any details though? Like,
yeah. So Jake Feldman was averaging like 150 to 200%, and sometimes got 250%. So that's a measure of a top tier ranked YouTube Shorts channel, what audience retention they're getting. I think if you're getting less than 70%, 80%, then it's probably not triggering the recommendation system as much as you would like.
Yeah. Someone, I feel like maybe even in this chat or someone somewhere recently said like 70 to 80%.
Yeah, that was their experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, in their experience. My experience has been I've seen a lot more success when I can push 100 to 105%. Like, so people are watching it all the way through plus a little bit more. That's why a lot of people create loops with their shorts. They want that over 100% retention, because that's like the difference between a good short and a viral short. So more is better. Definitely practice your storytelling.
I cannot find that. I've just found it. Right, hang on a sec. I'm gonna have to mute this first of all. Actually, though, I should probably play this first bit because this is how I introduced the video. Like, what an intro this is. In this video, I'm going to show you how to double your watch time on YouTube. Look at that, Dan. In this video, I'm going to show you how to double your watch time on YouTube. The editing it took to do that. In this video. Anyway, where was it? Right. So yeah, this was Jake. Was this Jake Feldman's? Let's have a look. Disgusted with himself. That's because these days the average view duration on his videos doesn't just hover around 100%. They always exceed that and often come close to 200%. Let me just summarize this. In the last month, every time a viewer watches one of Jake Feldman's videos, they pretty much watch it twice. There you go. I think that's a good example of audience retention.
Yeah. So there you go. Get people to watch more than once. It's not possible every time, but sometimes you have an opportunity to create a loop. And if you have that opportunity, definitely take advantage of it. For my first video, what should the average views be? I did pull this one up. This is more of a conversation about just, any amount of views if it's your first video.
Yeah, I would say it does not matter. Set no expectations for the first, in my opinion, 25 to 50 videos that you publish. Others would have a different opinion on this, but I would always say two things. Nothing beats experience, and you've got to figure out whether you actually enjoy making YouTube videos. The idea of being a YouTuber seems pretty cool, but actually, being one and creating content is a whole different prospect and challenge. And so you need to learn whether or not making videos is something that you want to do now and then 10 years in the future when hopefully you've turned it into a business.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I think I did. This did actually lead back to, I think the question I was asking while you were absent, Dan, was something along the lines of, I got 23% click-through rate, 63% audience retention. Why did my first video only get 200 views? And I was saying, well, actually 200 views on your first video is actually pretty damn good. You've done well there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're trying to set a goal for your first video, I would really be worried more about just trying to tell the best story, just making it, go as far as you can, as your abilities allow for. But the other thing I would say too is like, don't overthink it. Like you'll get to a point where you never upload that first video because you're just trying to overthink it and make it as perfect as it can be. It won't be. It just won't be. So, do your best on it, but focus on just try and be concise. Like focus on telling, get to the point of the video as fast as you can and give people the value that they came in for. That's the best thing you can do with any video. How do you even post shorts on a PC? Nothing works for me. Posting shorts on a PC is exactly like posting a video on your PC. So the only thing is the short needs to be under a minute long and has to be vertical. And that YouTube will know it's a short. Even if you don't put the hashtag shorts in the description or title, like YouTube knows, I see what you're doing. It is a short.
Correct.
Is it good to upload multiple shorts at a time or wait for it to get views first?
It's a good question because I think what we would generally recommend for long form content is that you allow that video to breathe a little bit. So it may be that you publish a video every day or like 2 or 3 a week. With shorts, I feel as if the principle is somewhat the same, but a lot more condensed in that you could probably publish, I don't know, up to 10 shorts a day, but maybe post them not all at exactly the same time. So space it out, one every couple of hours. If you're that extreme, I would generally never recommend posting more than one video at exactly the same time unless there's a very specific reason for this. Like, let's say you've done a video where you're arguing for something, but then you're also arguing against something. So like the two videos actually work together and you actually link to them directly. That may be one example where you publish videos at the same time. But
yeah,
I guess, for example, you would never see a television show releasing 2 episodes of something at exactly the same time. They make, like, season premiere, you may launch the first 2 episodes back to back, but you would never launch them at 8, both at 8 o'clock, but on different stations, if that makes any sense. I know that's quite a bad example, since it's video on demand and people can watch it whenever they want.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. I think I want to shift gears real quick before we answer any more questions.
All right.
And I do want to let people know, hey, if you're here and you're asking questions, we do this every week, but we don't get to everybody's question. However, people who do get all their questions answered are people who join our brand new vidIQ Max plan. So what this is a group coaching plan where you, by joining this plan, have access to YouTube experts through not only regular calls, there's right now 2 calls a month that happen with these guys, but a 24/7 Discord server where if you ask your questions, they're constantly checking in on it and helping you out with your YouTube channels. And we wanted to promote this and let everybody know that this is a way that you can take your channel to the next level if you're ready to take that step, going from hobby to potentially full-blown business. This is something that the idea is it pays for itself and more. So vidIQ Max just opened up. It starts at $79 a month if you buy a full year. If you're a free user, we're talking about $3 a day for access to these group coaches. And if you're already paying for vidIQ Boost, we're talking about less than an extra $2 a day. So huge value here for access to people who can take a look at your actual channel and help you get on the right track to starting your business.
And we should add that Max is on top of everything else that you get with vidIQ. So you get all of the tools, title generator, thumbnail preview tool, channel audits, daily ideas. All of that is included. And then you have this exclusive access to Travis, Jeff, Alexi, Dan, and myself are going to be appearing in these more exclusive private conversations. And you get access to all of the previous conversations that have been had. I think there's now tens of hours worth of content on there. And we don't just do Q&A. We kind of spend a little time doing dedicated presentations on different YouTube facets. And they go into a lot more detail than they do on the videos that you see here. Because we know that when people are consuming content on YouTube, their attention span is limited. But once you get somebody into a conversational setting and you've got like an hour, like sat around a table speaking to people, then it becomes a lot more involved and a lot more in depth. So this is, as Dan said, it's like the next tier. We kind of offer you a teaser on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but for the real value, the next level stuff, vidIQ Max is definitely the place to go.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there you go. You can start today with these unlimited access to previous recorded sessions, meaning if you weren't in the last bunch that have happened, you can go back and watch those. And there's so much value in those presentations. So you could literally start today, right now, join vidIQ Max. There you go. The link is down below. If you want to get over here to the pricing page, you get a channel audit with vidIQ Max.
So I think the answer to that is that we don't publicly advertise that, but I know that on top of everything that's promised in the plan, Travis has this idea of doing all of these bonus sessions, and I think they've already done one channel audit session. So I don't want to say yes, definitely, but kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You probably stand a good chance of getting a channel audit if you're part of a program.
Yeah, the idea too is, I mean, you have access to this Discord server if you choose to join it, and you could, if you have a specific question about your channel, you could take a screenshot, go in the Discord. There's other people in the community that would be happy to help you as well, and our coaches see those, and they can also jump in with some advice too. So there's a lot of value in here. It's not like being on a live stream where there's 200 people here all asking questions and we can't possibly get to all of them. It's not like that.
Someone was asking, I think, what was the channel called, Max? I think it was this one. I'm not sure if this is a misinterpretation of the question or what we're saying, but there is a link in the description, which will take you to the plans page, and it's the max column on the right-hand side, which Dan just showed you like 2 or 3 minutes ago. That's where you get more information. Thank you, Dan. So the link will take you here, and it's max group coaching that you are more than welcome to do a bit more research on.
So there you go. Please do check that out. And we'll get back to answering some other questions here. I think this was our next one. Sometimes I watch my videos directly from YouTube main account. Okay, we saw that one already. Is it viable to live stream in a YouTube membership, then ripping out portions of that for time-lapse videos, tutorials, and stories?
So how we interpret this question is this channel has YouTube membership. So people are paying for exclusive access, one of them being live streams. And then I think what they want to do is take some of that live stream content and then publish it publicly to everyone. And so if I'm interpreting the question that way, my answer would be yes, I think you're absolutely within your rights to do that. What you've got to appreciate is that people are paying for that exclusive access. So they don't want to feel cheated if you're just then offering the content for free. But what many people do is we'll take snippets, teasers, and whatever, and share it publicly, which to encourage people to invest in the membership to get more of this exclusive access. So that's the way you want to pitch it if you're going to do that.
You would pitch it as, you know, I do my recording sessions live for members. So basically what you're doing is you're recording the content for the rest of your week, but you're doing it on a members only live stream. So they get to see the behind the scenes of you making that content. They get to see how the sausage is made, but the people on the channel get more from it. They get the actual like edited clips. You just got to be clear about what it is you're offering, kind of to Rob's point.
All right, Dan, since you abandoned me, I'm going to abandon you for a couple of minutes because I need to break character.
Okay, I'm not going to tell you what that means, just for fun. So will swapping my old thumbnails for new and improved ones boost my views and subscribers? I'm actually okay. So we had Ed from Film Booth on this channel on Friday talking about this a little bit. This is something that he's a big champion of, something that we've been trying ourselves. I've had success doing this. I'm trying again with some more vidIQ videos right now. I actually have to go back and check on those because it's been a while. But yes, you can absolutely go back and swap out old thumbnails for new ones and even titles. Basically what happens is you make a video, right? And it doesn't perform exactly how you would want it to. So, or it does great for a time, but eventually stagnates, it just flatlines, right? But you're like, wait a minute, this video is still pretty valuable. Well, given the experience and the knowledge you have now, after it's been a while since you uploaded that initial video, you might think of a better title and a better thumbnail to try on that content. And you should absolutely do it if that's the case, especially if the video is not getting views anymore. If a new video underperforms, I like to quickly try and change the title or the thumbnail, whatever I feel is more relevant, as fast as I can. If it's an old video that stopped performing and you'd like to see it get new life, absolutely, you can do that. You should do that. And it can definitely lead to some of your best content on your channel that way in terms of views.
I don't know if you already said this, Dan, but Ed from Film Booth made a fantastic video about this.
Yeah. I think one of Ed's latest videos actually is on this very subject. And it's about him making less content and getting more views, because that's exactly what it is. All right, I didn't start any more questions. Let's see. Now we be quiet and we find questions.
Yeah, now I can play this sound effect. Does it sound any louder?
A little bit.
Yeah, I while we were talking to Ben, I decided to re-edit the volume on it. I was multitasking.
Okay. Should I utilize text more in my thumbnails or change my format for some upcoming videos? 3 of my 4 top videos have some text implemented in some way.
Well, there's your data point. If text works in your thumbnails, go with that solution.
It's weird. I've for a long time been a champion of no text if you can avoid it, right? And I still believe in that advice, but there has been times where using text has been a huge benefit to me. So it just depends on how you're using it. It really depends. I think it's a case-by-case basis for me. Sometimes I just do images that imply things, and sometimes the text drives the point home that I'm trying to make in the thumbnail. So I wouldn't say, if you limit yourself to, oh no, I never put text, or no, I have to put text, I have to put at least 2 words. Like if you create some kind of rigid system, you're kind of limiting yourself as a creator, when you should really look at it as a case by case basis. Like I always like the mentality though of less is more, because the less you need to say to communicate the point of your video, the easier it's going to be for someone passing by to immediately click with it and get the point of what you're trying to make, right? But if you have to explain it with your thumbnail, you're already doing so much work, and then the viewers having to do all that work to try and decipher, well, what the heck's this video about?
Yeah, as you said, Dan, I think text can be used very effectively, but we would all champion to use as little text as possible. It should be used not to spell out what the video is about, unless it's a tutorial. I think you can get away with it a bit more in straight tutorials, because having that big block of text telling somebody a solution when in that mindset helps. But for most types of content, the text should be complementing the story that's trying to be teased in the thumbnail and the title.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. What mics do y'all use?
So I recently purchased a Beacon microphone, and the software was driving me insane. So I returned it, and I am now using a Revelator dynamic microphone. I'm still undecided on how good this microphone is, because it seems to have a very, I'm not sure what the right term is, but I think a very high ceiling in terms of you can hear a lot of background noise if you don't set it properly. I think I've figured that out, but I'm not sure, because it sounds good when I'm listening to it. And then when I listen to streams after the fact, I'm not sure how good it sounds. Really long answer to a very simple question. Revelator dynamic USB microphone. What about you, Dan?
This is the AT2020. So Audio Technica makes this, and I've had it for over a decade, and it's a great mic. They make 2 of them. They make an XLR version of it, and they make, which is what I have, and they make a USB version of it.
I think what you'll always say, Dan, is it's as much the input / mixer as it is the microphone itself.
Yeah.
Because you keep telling me to buy a really expensive piece of equipment, which I refuse to do.
No, I understand. It does help though. If this mic could sound way crappier if I'd had it plugged into the wrong type of system. If I just had it straight into my computer, for example. But I have a mixer that is doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Let us know, like, who do you think sounds better? Not as a competition. I'm just genuinely interested.
Mic quality wise, like, yeah, who sounds better?
Do you think Dan's 10-year-old microphone sounds better than my 10-day-old microphone? Which, like, I still don't know if his pop filter helps. Like, this is supposed to have a built-in pop filter, but I'm not sure if it works. So it's why I still have this pop filter. And I had to buy some special black elastic bands, so it doesn't, so you can't actually see it when I put the pop filter on. Although you can still see the little elastic band there. Yeah.
Should I upload 1 video a week that is better quality, or should I do more but not as good quality?
Oh, I don't know how to answer that. Do I just give the usual answer to this, or I say experiment? You find out what your own standard is, etc., etc. Dan, I'll let you lead with this one for once.
It always depends on the quality for me. Like what is what aspect of quality are you sacrificing when you overproduce content, right? Like is it your editing, or is it the ideas that you're putting behind your videos? Is it the thumbnail? Is it the title? Like, because it's different depending on what you're sacrificing. I would think that if you were willing to spend more time ideating and coming up with good titles and thumbnails, then it's absolutely worth your time to take a step back and make less content so you can do that. I'm just looking at the channel. It looks like you've made a lot of videos. So you've definitely cut your teeth like over the last 8 months, which is great. But the thumbnails, although they are improving, could use improvements. So is that what you're sacrificing? Is it you're not giving yourself enough time to make better thumbnails? Or is it literally the editing? And like when you're looking at 10-minute videos, like that matters, because you could have the best thumbnails in the world and you can have a bunch of clicks in your video, but YouTube's going to stop pushing it if people are leaving in the first 30 seconds and not coming back on a 10-minute video. So it all matters. It all matters. But I think we would say if you're new, just get videos out, because we don't want you to overthink your first videos. Like, you really should just try and record and get something done. But we also would say, like, okay, but you're also here to grow. And to do that, you need to be a good storyteller. You got to have good titles. You got to have good thumbnails. It's a practice you're constantly evolving and getting better at. So it's not an easy one to answer, but hopefully it was helpful.
I agree for today.
Yeah. There's too many nuances to it. All right. Let's see.
There we go. This is a good summarization. Hit record, post it, practice first. I like that attitude.
I found a few pretty good questions here that I just starred.
Sure.
So we have this one here. I spend weeks editing and filming a video that gets 0 views. What do? I tried all the tricks and get no views. I have an issue where no one can find my channel. So this is the opposite kind of like end of that spectrum.
So what I will say is, and I'm saying this because I know this to be true of every single creator on the planet, you have not tried all of the tricks. Even Mr. Beast hasn't tried absolutely everything. So there is still more to explore with your content creation. And my advice to you would be, if you're spending weeks editing and filming and getting 0 views, stop banging your head against that wall and spend a couple of days editing a video and uploading it. Because it may be that you haven't got the experience yet of telling a good story in your videos. Or as Dan said earlier on, like maybe the idea is rubbish, which is why nobody's watching it. Maybe the title and the thumbnail absolutely suck, and nobody's getting past that part of your content to actually watch what may be good videos. What do you reckon?
100%. Yeah. I guess the other thing is, like, no one knows that you've spent that many hours on any video you make, especially if they're not clicking into it. So, because we see this question phrased this way so often, right? Like, I've spent weeks editing a video, it's not getting views. What gives? Like, yeah, no one knows you did that. So it's not the editing that would be the problem there.
We're not auditing channels, but if you're talking about your own channel, just looking at the titles and the thumbnails, you're not spending weeks on a title and a thumbnail. And that might be your biggest problem right now.
It looks to me like you've 30-minute videos here, 52-minute videos on your latest one, which the thumbnail looks cool, to the point where it's kind of suspicious, because your older thumbnails don't resemble this style at all. It's very, very impressive, that thumbnail evolution. But let's just assume you've kind of gone through a lot to improve your thumbnails and stuff. That is a live stream. Could are they just doing streams?
Mostly, I think almost all of this stuff is quite long.
Yeah, I mean, you could take that video that's a live stream and you could take the VOD from it and edit that down into like a 10-minute video, and that might be really, really cool, really clickable. There's a lot going on here, though. I mean, they're playing multiple games, so your audience that's coming from Minecraft sees a Dying Light 2 video or vice versa, and it's not appealing to them because it's just not the same audience. So, yeah, it's kind of like that classic thing, right? But hopefully we were some help to you without like a full-blown channel audit there. I edit everything on a phone, and I love the app. I have a bunch of features. What do you think is a good time to? When do you think is a good time to switch to editing to a computer, if ever?
First of all, I praise you for editing on a mobile device. That would drive me insane. I would quit making videos if I had to make stuff on a mobile device. And what I would say is, you're probably actually ahead of the curve here. You're a new breed of creator, a new generation of creator who's comfortable, confident, and talented editing on a mobile device. So my question to you would be, do you need to? For the type of content that you make, do you feel as if you're missing out by not having the tools available in Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere Pro? If you're starting to get more and more frustrated with what you can edit, on a mobile device, then maybe it is time to transition to a desktop. But also realize that when you do that, you'll be taking 5 steps back in order to learn a new video editing program. And that will take time and perhaps a little bit of frustration as well.
Absolutely. I think there's the question here of like, do you need to change? You know, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you love the features you have and you're comfortable in your video editing software, like that's a huge benefit to you. That makes it easier to edit content, makes it easier, faster to make videos. So you may, if you're comfortable doing that, you may not need to ever switch. But if you're ready for a switch, if you feel like you've seen people using Premiere or Final Cut and you love the features and you're like, oh, I wish I could do, then I would make extra time for that, right? Like start to learn the new software even before you commit to it fully. So you still have the comfort of editing on your phone and doing things you want to do, but start to look at tutorials and start to kind of imagine yourself using this software if you feel like you need it, but you don't. Like you can use a phone to edit, and like we know creators who edit exclusively on their phones. They do their thumbnails on their phones. They do everything on their phones. So you can absolutely run a channel this way.
If you're watching YouTube videos and you ask yourself, oh, that looks cool, how do I do that? I want to know how to do that. And you're asking that once a month, you're probably fine where you are. If you're asking that question 5 times a day, you probably need to get a new video editor.
For gaming type news videos, how much does it matter to be the first to put a video out in YouTube search?
That's pretty important. If it's time sensitive content, the quality of your content can be terrible, but if no one else knows it, you've got exclusive information for a very brief period of time.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Being as early as possible is key in that kind of space. Being one of the first people.
If you're not first, you have to present it in a very different, unique, entertaining way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's
you watch the tech channels, like when it's iPhone 14 rumors and stuff, like just channels of racing to get that information out as quickly as possible. Whereas the bigger creators may spend a bit more time on it because they have that clout, they have that reputation. People are willing to wait a little longer for their content. But if you're new to the scene, being first, being different, being better, all 3, that's where you need to be. And I don't envy anybody trying to do that. It is tough.
One thing you can do is capture a lot of footage and have it on hand to use as B-roll. A lot of news channels in the gaming space do this, whereby if they cover like Oculus Quest stuff, get B-roll of Oculus games, menus, things like that, have it on hand. Because as soon as a story drops, the last thing you need to be doing is getting redundant like footage. You know what I mean? Just stuff that stuff that can easily run in the background that doesn't help enhance the story. It's just something to look at while you're giving the news update. A lot of channels do their news content that way. You'll notice if you pay really close attention to what's on the screen, it doesn't really match what they're saying because they're just showing gameplay somewhat related to the breaking news. So get yourself a backlog of pre-recorded content so that way when something drops, you already have stuff set up. I know somebody who actually like lays out a whole timeline in Premiere, their editing software, and they go in and
that's a good idea. Isn't it?
Basically, the video is cut together, and all they do is turn on the voice recording function and start talking, and they give the news update.
Yeah, it's not entirely related to this, but just an interesting thing that happened to one of our videos recently. Super thanks has been something that's been around on YouTube for about 2 years now, but it's not been available to most creators. I made a video on this, I think last year. How old is this video? Let me just check. It is. So I made this video June 22nd, 2021. And what happened last week is that YouTube finally made super thanks available to all creators. So all of a sudden creators were searching for that. And because I made this content ages ago, and it was one of the better pieces of content on the subject, we suddenly got not a huge surge, but like, that's not too bad. Like 3,000 views in the last week on something that I made a year ago. That's kind of a reflection of any piece of educational, informational piece of content can have a life in the future. And because we were the best creator on this topic, we were benefiting from it. So yeah, being first, being the best, being different, those are all ways that you can differentiate your content against the competition.
Will my shorts get pushed to more new viewers if I uncheck the notify subs box when I upload the shorts?
I don't think that will make any difference whatsoever. It'll still be pushed to the same number of new viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And the notify subs thing is a really weird mechanism for shorts content. I can't remember where I read this. Maybe I dreamt this, but I'm sure YouTube said somewhere that even if somebody subscribes to a channel and turns on notifications, they won't necessarily get notifications for shorts just because of a sheer volume of potential shorts that are released. But I may be wrong. I may be misquoting myself. I don't know, Dan. Can you remember anything about this? I'm sure I'd read it somewhere.
No, I just know that from a practical standpoint, like especially if you're uploading long form and short form on the same channel, it might annoy your subscribers to get the extra notifications for shorts that are kind of meant for somebody else anyway. Like YouTube shorts kind of just live in a different place on YouTube. So it's not needed. If you're just a shorts channel, you might as well leave it on. You might as well let it notify subscribers. But if you're doing both on your channel, I think that separation is kind of good. I can let you pull that up and bring another question. Or
I was trying to find the answer from YouTube support, but I can't see it. I'm sure I'd read it somewhere about notifications operating differently for shorts, but I can't find it. Sucks to be me.
Let's see. So got one. I'm just trying to get a couple more questions here. New creator here. What's the number one mistake you see creators doing with thumbnails?
Far too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
They try and stuff in too much of the video itself, be it through elements, colors, text. Simplify.
If you have a top 5 video about top 5 things in the thing, show one thing in the thumbnail. Show the most interesting thing. You know, the title can be top 5 things and the thumbnail is one of the things, right? Like some people try and put all 5. And then, so that's to Rob's point. There's another thing I've seen where people leave way too much negative space. Like people are afraid to fill out that thumbnail frame. If you're gonna put a face in the thumbnail, that face can get really close to the camera. You can put a lot of somebody in the thumbnail and make them take up half the room. But I see people down here in the corner sometimes. And now you have this negative space up here. You have all this negative space right here. Who's this for? What do you... Why are you in the corner? Fill out the thumbnail with, you know, put that subject in there. Like really use the space. It's already a very small image.
A little bit of an in-joke, Dan. Shall we call that the Alexi style thumbnail?
Oh, that's mean. My channel has stagnated after I switched up my content style. I don't like to make Minecraft farm videos anymore. So I switched and now I ain't getting views on my new videos. What to do now? So I pulled up this question, but this person says, I want to start a gaming YouTube channel, but the game I want to play is not popular. What should I do? Not this is what I'm going to say. What happens when you pick something that's popular and you don't like it?
Yeah.
You burn out eventually. Not that maybe this person loved it at a time and that happens too. Okay. You burn out, but just to start with this question first, this is not going to be easy for you. You're going to need to commit to whatever pivot you make though, and accept that people are not going to come back, and that's okay. You had the Minecraft farm videos going, people were enjoying them, you're not enjoying them, so that's not helping anybody. Now it's time to commit to your pivot, especially if you love what you're doing, and accept that it's, you know, there will be attrition now. Some of those people will leave. I don't know if you want to jump on this too. That's my initial advice.
No, I agree with you. Your audience came to watch a format that you no longer enjoy creating. That is a problem. I guess what you can try to do, this is a challenge, it's risky, but you could try and pitch the video in the same way, in that you say you're doing a tutorial on farming videos. That's how you pitch a video. And you deliver some of the value that was promised in the title and the thumbnail, but then because you want to take your content in a new creative journey, you make the actual video content more in the style that you want it to be. So this is running a fine line between clickbait and the type of content you want to make. But if you want to try and keep the audience still intrigued in your content, then you may need to try a little bit of suave, sophisticated, intentional deception.
There's versus content too, if you're going to be a little more nail on the head, like, this farming Minecraft mod versus this new thing you want to do. It might, sometimes it's hard to bridge that gap, but yeah. You could start the video. I'm just trying to imagine this video. You could start the video like you normally do. There's the farm and everything else, and then something happens, and you're like, enough of that. Check out this new thing I found, and just like very abruptly get into it.
This is a channel, I think. Really cool thumbnails, by the way. I've not seen Minecraft thumbnails in quite this artistic style.
They're using like shaders.
Cool. I think the problem the channel has is this bad boy right here, which has nearly 3 million views, and it's still getting 250 views per hour now. It is a short. Oh, no, it isn't a short. No, it isn't a short. So most of your audience, I would assume, is still coming from this video. Yeah. And so it's like, that is a farm video. How do you make farm videos that you want to make that somehow tie into this content, but are not the tutorials that you no longer want to make? That's the challenge you have right now. I'm not saying you can list this or private it, but this essentially is your target audience, this video.
Think about it this way. Like, this video is a lot of value to people who are playing Minecraft. Well. That's what it is. Like,
2 million views.
Yes, I think I've even seen that thumbnail before. Like, these videos you're making are providing a lot of value to the Minecraft community, and it's not that it's farm videos, although your mob farm videos are your best ones. Think about the gameplay element of what the benefit of this farm video, what is the benefit, right? Like, are there other benefits to other activities in Minecraft? Like, could you be showing other things? You are, and they're doing well. They're not doing as well, but for 66,000 subscribers, 10,000 views, it's like nothing to be ashamed of at all. If you could go for that as like your baseline of views, simple starter bases. I mean, that's a cool concept. It's hard. Like, I don't even know what are they doing lately? Like, what's the pivot away from these farm videos? Because I feel like this relates to the same people.
Still tutorials.
Kind of building videos, simple starter house. It looks really pretty. So you're kind of going the artistic route. That is kind of different. Some people play Minecraft for the loot, like the creeper farm, right? They're trying to get as much crap as they can. And some people play for the aesthetics. Right. And so you are catering to a different audience. So now what my suggestion would be to you is to make the prettiest builds ever, right? So keep upping your own game. And, eventually you'll be known for that. And yes, you have the older videos bringing in those viewers too, but they'll see these irresistible builds you're doing, and they're like, I want to do that. Alternatively, you start a different Minecraft channel and you do your really awesome looking builds there, because the fear is that you're bringing in new viewers right now from that creeper farm video that are instantly not looking at the other videos because you're not making more loot gathering videos.
Really naive question. Could you build a really aesthetically pleasing farm that just happens to mine 3,000 per hour gunpowder?
Farzy does that.
All right.
Look up Farzy and check out their channel. That's exactly what he's doing in a lot of his videos. He's a really nice aesthetic builder, but he also makes these incredible, like, efficient things. I built an insane totem farm, and now it's like really cool looking, a mega trading hall, like all these things he's building, very aesthetically pleasing, but also valuable to the player. So he's hitting both of those audiences in the same video.
Use Farzy as reference then.
But farms are complex. They're it might be the act of building these things and setting them up that bothers you. But yeah, there's going to be a point where you just have to accept, like, if you're not going to make a new channel, that's because I wouldn't delete those videos. I wouldn't get rid of them. I wouldn't private them because they're bringing in revenue.
Sure.
So I would be considering a different style of Minecraft channel, because you are making a different style of Minecraft video. But I'm sorry there was not an easy answer there for you. So I want to start a gaming channel. I want to play something that's not popular. What should I do? Play the most popular game that you also love the most. Like, find the Venn diagram there of like popularity and love for the game. Because if you play something no one's searching for, you're just going to be putting it out there to nobody, or relatively speaking, nobody. And that's okay if you're fine with doing that, but you're here. So obviously you're not. So that's kind of also the tough advice there. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I guess this translates into all genres and topics. If you're intentionally making something that's not popular, then you got to think about who's going to watch your content. Are you making the videos for yourself, or are you making it for an audience because you want to share your enthusiasm, passion, knowledge of a topic?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're by default saying that you want to intentionally make something that's not popular, that's your first problem, and you need to figure out how to overcome that.
Yeah. So that puts us at time for questions today.
Damn. If it was vidIQ Max, we'd probably do some bonus time, wouldn't we, Dan?
I think so. There's still a lot of questions that went unanswered, and they don't like to see that over in the vidIQ Max.
No, I don't want to put Travis, Jeff, or Alexi under any pressure or incorrect advertising, but they tend to answer every single question that comes up.
Yep.
Disclaimer might not be true.
The link is down below if you're interested in becoming a vidIQ Max subscriber, taking your YouTube channel from fun hobby that you do for fun to business that's actually paying your bills.
From fun hobby to serious business.
Exactly. Maybe that's not the right pitch after all. We want to help you grow. We want to help you become financially independent, and vidIQ Max is here to help you do just that. You get access to all of our tools and YouTube experts on tap. So check it out, and we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo, cheerio, tickety boo, let's go.